Here with me now in the studio is Zhang from the Shanghai Wen Hui Daily. He's the chief correspondent for their Washington bureau. So we heard and saw in the report new era. What stands out to you and how different is this white paper than the one from 4 years ago?
I think the white paper was saying also we are witnessing a kind of time of unseen in the century. I think basically it is trying to say that there are a lot of new kind of challenges and domains for Chinese military to face. So this is the fundamental reason for this white paper. I think from one angle, the Trump administration is talking about Indo-Pacific strategy. From another angle, this Taiwan issue is getting more serious, and China has to deal with it. And also from other domains like from space and also from cyber, I think China is facing a lot of new challenges. And also China has a lot of more interest abroad compared to a few years ago. So I think that all says this is a kind of completely new era.
Right, things change daily. We did hear from Zhang about this U.S. ship in the Taiwan Strait. You mentioned China's overseas interests and their strategic concerns. Can you elaborate on that?
I think one thing is that China is having its investment and also trade relationship, and China is #1 trade partners with more than 130 countries, I think. So that makes China to have a lot of stakes whenever anything happened in Africa, in South America. And also this South China Sea, Indian Ocean, and many other places, even Arctic Ocean. China has been increasingly engaged in those kind of, I think, business and trade and business. I think that's the reason.
You mentioned the South China Sea. There is the regional view here, the neighborhood, if you will. How are countries in the neighborhood, its Asian neighbors, to look at this?
I think China has been very clear that this South China Sea is China's territory, but China is open to communicate with all neighboring countries. And I think this white paper is one example that China is trying to make its defense policy to be more transparent. China is willing to be engaged with all the ASEAN countries. And I think with the developing Chinese military strength, only South China Sea and other neighboring places, waters, will become more secure and safe.
This is the second white paper. We know that President Xi Jinping has really focused on military reform. On one hand, he's streamlined the military, but it also talks in this white paper about the growth of the military. So what would you say to critics who are concerned about increased growth and military spending?
I think it's very natural because of the different challenges China is facing, and still compared to many countries, especially America, China's military spending is just about 30 or 40% of U.S. and also we are spending only about 1.3% of our GDP to the defense, and compared to that, America is investing 3.5 or something like that percent of its GDP to defense. I think China is still far left behind major other great powers. I think there's nothing to worry that China will become a threat to many countries in the region.
All right, Zhang, thank you so much for explaining this all for us. We appreciate your time.